Allies had prepared their forces to fight on the European front, confident that their armored divisions would dominate any battlefield. But in 1944, one moment shattered that certainty. You stand in the midst of a war that has consumed nations, where every decision can tip the scales of power. The Allied forces are in the process of planning a pivotal offensive against German positions in France. The landscape is marred by destruction, and the air carries the weight of uncertainty. Each soldier knows that their lives hang in the balance. The strategic importance of this operation cannot be overstated. It is essential to breach the German defenses and liberate occupied territories. As the strategy unfolds, the Allied command faces a daunting obstacle. The heavily fortified German positions. Intelligence reports indicate a significant concentration of enemy armor, making a direct assault seem all but suicidal. Desperation sets in, and the need for an audacious plan becomes evident. The pieces begin to fall into place when a young officer proposes an unconventional idea. Inflatable tanks, lightweight decoys designed to deceive the enemy, could serve as a pivotal element in the operation. At first, the concept is met with skepticism. How could such a flimsy tool stand against the formidable German war machine? Yet, as discussions continue, the potential benefits become clearer. If executed correctly, these decoys could draw enemy fire, divert attention, and allow the real forces to maneuver with greater freedom. The decision is made. As dawn breaks on June 6, 1944, you and your fellow soldiers prepare for the operation. A sense of anticipation fills the air. You can almost hear the rumble of tanks in the distance as the Allied forces begin their advance. The inflatable tanks are strategically placed along key points in the German lines, camouflaged among the rubble and debris. The hope is that the sight of these decoys will mislead the enemy, creating an opening for the main assault. You move forward with your unit, heart racing, as the first shots are fired. The sound of artillery echoes in the distance. Smoke fills the air, creating a surreal landscape where chaos reigns. And then, the first glimpse of victory emerge. The inflatable tanks draw enemy fire as intended. German soldiers, believing they have spotted the main thrust of the Allied forces, open up with everything they have. The deception works better than anyone could have anticipated. The barrage of shells rains down on the inflatable decoys, while your comrades advance under the cover of confusion. The enemy is caught off guard, their focus shifting entirely to the inflatable tanks. As the firefight intensifies, you witness the ripple effect of this audacious tactic. The Germans, convinced they are facing a full-scale assault, scrambled their forces to respond. The pressure mounts as the real Allied tanks maneuver into position, flanking the enemy lines. The chaos unfolds like clockwork, but it's not without its costs. The harsh reality of war remains, with every advance marked by sacrifice. What they didn't know was that their focus on the decoys had allowed the Allies to seize the initiative and change the course of the battle. As the offensive unfolds, the Allies gain momentum. The impact of the inflatable tanks ripples through the entire operation, shifting the balance of power. In the days that follow, you reflect on the significance of what transpired. The fate of the Allies is intertwined with the innovative strategies employed during that critical moment. Your name may not be etched in stone, but the contributions made that day resonate through the annals of warfare. This story holds importance, not just for military historians, but for anyone understanding the nature of conflict. It serves as a reminder that sometimes victory lies not in sheer force, but in clever tactics, innovation, and the willingness to adapt. The inflatable tanks may have been mere tools of deception, but they represented a shift in thinking that saved 30,000 Allied lives and changed the course of the war. If this story moved you, please hit like. It helps keep these heroes alive in memory. Subscribe if you want more untold wartime history. Thank you for ensuring their names do not disappear into silence. The aftermath of the operation reveals the complexities of warfare and the unpredictable nature of combat. As the dust settles, you survey the battlefield, a landscape now marked by the remnants of both strategy and chaos. The inflatable tanks, once viewed with skepticism, emerge as symbols of ingenuity. Their role in the offensive demonstrates the power of unconventional thinking in a world dominated by traditional military doctrine. In the days following the assault, the German command scrambles to assess the situation. Reports of the unexpected success of the Allied forces flood in, each one underscoring the effectiveness of the decoy operation. The German officers, once confident in their strategies, now face a crisis of confidence. The very foundation of their belief conventional warfare has been shaken. The Allies, buoyed by their victory, begin to analyze the tactics that led to their success. Briefings and debriefings become a routine part of life. Officers gathered to discuss what worked and what didn't. Eager to refine their approaches for future operations, you find yourself at the center of these discussions, sharing insights on the use of deception and the psychological aspects of warfare. As Captain John Miller, your reputation begins to grow within the ranks. Stories of the inflatable tanks circulate, morphing into legends that inspire your fellow soldiers. The narrative shifts from one of brute strength to one that celebrates cunning and adaptability. This evolution in thinking resonates throughout the military community, prompting a re-evaluation of tactics employed in various theaters of war. The higher command recognizes the significance of the operation as well. Senior officers are intrigued by the possibility of integrating such innovative tactics into larger strategies. You receive orders to prepare a detailed report outlining the execution of the inflatable tank maneuver and its implications for future operations. This moment crystallizes your importance within the 2nd Armored Division, and you feel the weight of responsibility. In your report, you emphasize the value of deception, urging fellow commanders to consider unconventional methods in their planning. You highlight how the inflatable tanks not only diverted enemy fire, but also created openings for real assaults. Your analysis underscores the importance of psychological warfare, noting how the Germans, accustomed to facing direct and overwhelming force, were unprepared for such a tactic. As the war rages on, the impact of this operation becomes evident. Allied forces across different fronts begin to adopt similar strategies, embracing the idea that the battlefield is not solely a place for brute force, but also a realm of psychological engagement. The inflatable tanks become a case study in military academies, studied by future generations of officers, eager to learn from this pivotal moment in history. The ripple effect of your actions extends beyond the immediate battlefield. The successful use of deception tactics influences the broader strategic landscape. The German military, now on the defensive, grapples with its own limitations. Their reliance on heavy armor and conventional tactics becomes a liability as they struggle to adapt to the evolving nature of warfare. In the months that follow, your division continues to see success. The lessons learned from the inflatable tanks resonate in every operation, instilling a sense of confidence among the troops. Soldiers understand that their survival and success depend not just on their firepower but also on their ability to think critically and adapt in real time. You witnessed the transformation of your fellow soldiers. The camaraderie that develops from shared experiences in battle fosters a culture of innovation. Soldiers begin to propose their ideas, unafraid to think outside the box. The battlefield becomes a canvas for creativity, with each soldier contributing to a collective effort to outmaneuver the enemy. As the war enters its later stages, you reflect on the journey. The initial skepticism surrounding the inflatable tanks has been replaced by widespread acceptance of innovative tactics. You feel a sense of pride knowing that your contributions have helped shape the course of the conflict. The war is far from over, but the lessons learned will leave a lasting legacy. You also begin to consider the personal toll of war. The victories achieved come at a cost, and each loss weighs heavily on your conscience. The faces of fallen comrades haunt your thoughts, reminding you that each victory is hard-earned. The balance between innovation and the harsh realities of combat becomes a constant reflection as you navigate your role as a leader. As the fighting continues, you remain vigilant. The enemy is adapting, and the war remains unpredictable. Each day brings new challenges, and you know that the ingenuity that brought success in one operation may need refinement for the next. The evolving landscape of warfare demands constant vigilance and adaptation. Your story, intertwined with the inflatable tanks, becomes a testament to the resilience of the human spirit in the face of adversity. The lessons learned during this time will ripple through military history, influencing tactics for generations to come. You understand that the war is not just a series of battles, but a complex interplay of strategy, deception, and human determination. With each passing day, the significance of your actions becomes clearer. The inflatable tanks are more than mere tools. They represent a shift in understanding the nature of warfare itself. As you continue to lead your men, you remain committed to fostering an environment where creativity and innovation thrive. The legacy of that pivotal moment will endure, reminding future generations that sometimes the most powerful weapon is not brute force, but the ability to think differently in the face of overwhelming odds. As the days turn into weeks following the operation, the realization of the inflatable tank's impact sinks in. You gather with your fellow commanders in the briefing room, where the air is thick with anticipation. The room buzzes with discussions on how to further exploit the success of the recent offensive. Each officer brings fresh ideas, eager to refine tactics and apply the lessons learned. The camaraderie forged in the heat of battle fosters a sense of unity, and you feel the weight of shared responsibility to lead effectively. You present your findings on the inflatable tank operation, emphasizing the importance of deception in modern warfare. Your voice carries authority as you recount the details of the maneuver, highlighting how it diverted the German forces and created openings for the main thrust. The other officers listen intently, their expressions shifting from skepticism to admiration. It's clear that your experiences are resonating. As discussions progress, the topic shifts towards developing new tactics that can be integrated into future offensives. The idea of using inflatable decoys in various forms gains traction. Some suggest adapting them for air operations, while others propose using inflatable artillery to mislead enemy reconnaissance. The energy in the room is palpable, and you can feel the momentum building. You are tasked with leading a small team to experiment with different types of decoys. This initiative becomes a collaborative effort, drawing on the diverse skills within your division. Engineers work alongside soldiers, crafting designs that can withstand the rigors of battle, while remaining effective tools of deception. The creativity flows, and you see firsthand how the spirit of innovation is taking root. As the team tests new prototypes, you witness the excitement of your men. Each successful demonstration of a decoy brings cheers, and the laughter helps to ease the burdens of war. In these moments, the soldiers are not just warriors. They are innovators, contributing to a larger cause. The transformation in morale is evident, and it fuels your determination to push forward. While the focus on innovation is vital, you remain acutely aware of the dangers that lie ahead. The Germans are not oblivious to the shift in tactics. They are adapting. Intelligence reports indicate that their forces are becoming increasingly cautious, tightening their defenses and scrutinizing the battlefield for signs of deception. You know that complacency can lead to failure, and the need for constant vigilance is paramount. In response, you initiate a series of training exercises that emphasize adaptability and quick thinking. You drill your men on how to respond to unexpected situations, fostering an environment where they feel empowered to make decisions on the fly. The training focuses not just on physical readiness, but also on mental agility, the ability to think critically under pressure. This approach becomes a hallmark of your leadership style, and the soldiers embrace it wholeheartedly. As the war rages on, you receive reports of other divisions adopting similar tactics. The use of inflatable decoys becomes a topic of discussion among military strategists, and your name begins to circulate as a pioneer of this innovative approach. It is both gratifying and humbling. You never sought recognition, but the ripple effect of your actions is undeniable. Meanwhile, the realities of combat continue to weigh heavily on your conscience. Each victory is shadowed by the losses endured. You receive news of a close friend from your unit who was killed in action during a subsequent skirmish. The news hits hard, a stark reminder of the sacrifices made in pursuit of victory. You reflect on the cost of war, understanding that while tactics evolve, the human cost remains constant. In the wake of this loss, you gather your men for a memorial service. You share stories of their fallen comrades, emphasizing the bravery and dedication they displayed. It's a somber yet unifying moment, reinforcing the bond among the soldiers. You remind them that every life lost is a testament to the fight for freedom, and that their efforts will not be forgotten. As the war approaches its climax, the Allies prepare for a series of coordinated offensives aimed at breaking the German lines completely. The inflatable tanks have proven their worth, but the element of surprise is fleeting. You know that the Germans will not be caught off guard again. In preparation for the upcoming assault, you and your team brainstorm new ideas to enhance the effectiveness of the inflatable tactics. The objective is to create a multifaceted approach that combines deception with sheer force. You decide to incorporate sound devices that can mimic the sound of approaching tanks, further misdirecting the enemy's focus. This addition adds another layer of complexity to your strategy. The day of the offensive arrives, and tension fills the air. You lead your men with a sense of purpose, each soldier aware of their role in this critical operation. The inflatable tanks are positioned strategically, and the sound devices are set to play at the right moments. As the assault begins, the battlefield erupts into chaos. Explosions rock the ground, and the roar of artillery fills your ears. You watch as the inflatable tanks draw enemy fire once more, just as they did before. The Germans, believing they are facing a full-scale attack, direct their resources toward the decoys. This moment of miscalculation allows your real forces to breach the German lines, pushing forward with renewed determination. The battle unfolds with a ferocity that is both exhilarating and terrifying. You witness the courage of your men as they engage the enemy, their resolve unyielding. With each advance, the realization grows that the tactics you championed are not just effective. They are changing the very fabric of how warfare is conducted. Your leadership and innovative thinking have not only saved lives, but have also reshaped the strategic landscape of the conflict. As the dust settles after the battle, you survey the aftermath. The inflatable tanks, once dismissed as mere tools, have proven their value time and again. They symbolize the shift in military thought that prioritizes adaptability and creativity over mere brute force. You stand with your men, knowing that their sacrifices have not been in vain. The legacy of the inflatable tanks will endure, not just as a footnote in military history, but as a testament to the power of unconventional thinking in the face of overwhelming odds. As the sun sets on the battlefield, casting long shadows over the remnants of the fight, you gather your unit for a debriefing. The atmosphere is charged with a mix of exhaustion and triumph. Each soldier bears the marks of the day's struggle dirt, and sweat streaking their faces, eyes reflecting the intensity of what they have just experienced. You can feel the camaraderie, the shared understanding that they have just participated in something significant. The inflatable tanks have demonstrated their effectiveness, but you emphasize that innovation must be a continuous process. It's not enough to rely on past successes. The enemy will adapt, and so must you. You encourage your men to think critically about every aspect of their tactics, from the use of decoys to the coordination of firepower. As the soldiers share their observations, their insights provide valuable feedback. One private mentions how the sound devices created confusion among the German ranks, allowing your troops to advance with less resistance. Another soldier points out that the initial success of the inflatable tanks had a psychological impact that reverberated through the enemy's command structure. In the days following the offensive, you worked tirelessly to compile a comprehensive report on the operation. This report will not only serve as documentation for higher command, but also as a guide for future engagements. You detailed the planning stages, the execution of the inflatable tank maneuver, and the subsequent reactions from the German forces. Your goal is to ensure that the lessons learned are not lost in the chaos of war. You include specific data on enemy engagement patterns, noting how the Germans allocated their resources in response to the decoys. The analysis reveals that their reliance on conventional strategies became a liability, allowing your forces to exploit weaknesses. Your report emphasizes the importance of deception and psychological tactics in modern warfare, advocating for a shift in how commanders approach battlefield strategies. As your report circulates through the ranks, it garners attention from senior officers. The innovative tactics you proposed begin to influence discussions at higher levels of command. You receive invitations to briefings where military leaders seek your insights on the successful operation. It's a humbling experience, knowing that your contributions are being recognized on such a significant scale. Meanwhile, the war continues to unfold. The Allies prepare for another offensive, this time with the knowledge that the Germans will be more vigilant. Your division is tasked with spearheading the assault, and you feel the weight of responsibility. The inflatable tanks will play a role again, but this time you are determined to enhance their effectiveness further. You gather your team to brainstorm new ideas. The goal is to create a multifaceted deception that combines visual and auditory elements. You suggest integrating drones for reconnaissance, allowing you to gather real-time intelligence on enemy positions. The idea excites your men, and they quickly begin to discuss how they might incorporate these new technologies into their existing strategies. As the planning progresses, you realize that the success of the inflatable tanks has opened doors to a broader conversation about innovation in warfare. Discussions about technology, tactics, and the psychology of combat become more commonplace among your peers. The military community is beginning to embrace the notion that adaptability and creativity are just as crucial as firepower. You reach out to engineers and technicians, working collaboratively to develop prototypes of advanced decoys. The new inflatable tanks are designed with better materials, allowing them to withstand harsher conditions while maintaining their deceptive qualities. You oversee the testing phases, ensuring that each modification meets the operational requirements. As the next offensive approaches, you feel a sense of urgency. The Germans have fortified their defenses, and the element of surprise is limited. You conduct drills with your troops, emphasizing the importance of quick decision-making and adaptability. The soldiers respond with enthusiasm, eager to put into practice the lessons learned from previous encounters. On the day of the assault, the air is thick with anticipation. You lead your men forward, their confidence bolstered by the preparations. The inflatable tanks are deployed alongside the new sound devices, and you watch as they are strategically positioned on the battlefield. The countdown begins, and the tension is palpable. As artillery shells rain down, the battlefield erupts into chaos once more. You can hear the roar of your tanks as they push forward, taking advantage of the confusion created by the decoys. The Germans, caught off guard, redirect their fire towards the inflatable tanks. Just as you had hoped, you move through the chaos, coordinating with your commanders to ensure that your forces maintain momentum. The plan is working, and you feel a surge of adrenaline as the enemy's defenses begin to crumble. You witness the determination of your soldiers as they seize the opportunity to advance, driven by the knowledge that their lives depend on their ability to adapt. When the dust settles, you gather your unit to assess the outcome. The offensive has been a resounding success, and the inflatable tanks once again prove their worth. The Germans, now facing a crisis of confidence, are forced to reevaluate their strategies. You realize that the impact of your actions extends far beyond the battlefield. In the aftermath, you reflect on the journey that led to this moment. The initial skepticism surrounding the inflatable tanks has transformed into a recognition of their importance. The narrative surrounding warfare is changing, and you are proud to be at the forefront of that evil. The legacy of that pivotal moment will influence military strategy for years to come, reminding future generations that victory often comes from innovation and the courage to think differently. As you prepare for the next phase of the campaign, you remain committed to fostering an environment of creativity and adaptability within your ranks. The lessons learned during this time will serve not only your division, but the entire Allied effort as the war continues to unfold. Each battle, each decision, and each innovative tactic will contribute to the ongoing fight for freedom and the eventual victory that lies ahead. As the campaign progresses, the importance of adaptability becomes increasingly clear. You notice a shift in how your fellow officers engage with tactical discussions. The initial skepticism surrounding unconventional warfare has given way to a genuine curiosity about innovation. In the weeks following the successful offensive, you convene regular strategy meetings. These gatherings are not just formalities. They become a platform for brainstorming and collaboration. Officers from various units bring their own experiences to the table. Each meeting is charged with energy as ideas flow freely, and it's evident that a new mindset is taking root. During these meetings, you emphasize the need for continuous learning. You encourage your fellow commanders to analyze every aspect of their operations critically. What worked? What didn't? How can they improve? This approach fosters an atmosphere where innovation is not just encouraged but expected. You see officers experimenting with new tactics, eager to put into practice the lessons learned from the inflatable tank's success. Meanwhile, the German forces are becoming increasingly aware of the Allied strategies. Intelligence reports indicate that they are tightening their defenses, employing countermeasures against the tactics that have proven effective. You understand that to maintain the upper hand, your division must stay one step ahead. You decide to initiate a series of reconnaissance missions to gather intelligence on enemy movements. This information is crucial for planning future assaults. As you lead these missions, you rely heavily on the skills of your soldiers, encouraging them to provide input and share observations. The collaborative effort enhances the effectiveness of your operations, allowing you to adapt quickly to changing circumstances on the battlefield. In one particular mission, your team identifies a poorly defended sector in the German lines. Recognizing an opportunity, you begin to formulate a plan that incorporates both deception and brute force. The inflatable tanks will play a pivotal role. But peacetime, you want to add a new element. Psychological warfare. You propose to use loudspeakers to broadcast distorted sounds of approaching tanks and troop movements. This auditory deception is designed to create confusion and panic within the German ranks. The idea excites your team, and they dive into preparations with enthusiasm. Engineers work on creating sound devices capable of mimicking the noise of armor, while soldiers practice how to deploy them effectively. As the assault date approaches, you conduct training exercises that incorporate the new strategy. Soldiers are briefed on their roles, and you emphasize the importance of timing. The success of the operation hinges on precise execution. You can see the determination in their eyes as they grasp the significance of their mission. On the day of the attack, the air is electric with anticipation. You lead your men, reinforcing their confidence as you move into position. The inflatable tanks are set up alongside the sound devices, camouflaged to blend into the landscape. As artillery fires in the distance, you can feel the weight of responsibility resting on your shoulders. When the signal is given, the operation begins. The battlefield erupts into chaos, and the sounds of explosions fill the air. You watch as the inflatable tanks draw enemy fire once more, just as intended. The Germans, believing they are facing a full assault, redirect their resources towards the decoys. This moment of miscalculation allows your real forces to breach their defenses. You coordinate the movements of your tanks, ensuring that they exploit the opening created by the enemy's confusion. The adrenaline surges as you witness your men pushing forward, their resolve unyielding. You experience a mix of exhilaration and focus as the battle unfolds. Each command you give is met with immediate action from your troops. They respond with precision, demonstrating the effectiveness of the training and strategies you've implemented. As the dust begins to settle, it becomes clear that the operation is a success. In the aftermath, you gather your men to assess the results. The inflatable tanks, alongside the sound devices, have once again proven their worth. The Germans, now facing a crisis of confidence, are forced to reevaluate their strategies. You feel a profound sense of accomplishment, knowing that your leadership and innovative thinking have reshaped the battlefield. As the war progresses, you continue to refine your tactics. Each victory builds upon the last, and the impact of your actions resonates throughout the military community. The inflatable tanks have transitioned from a mere tool of deception to a symbol of a broader change in military strategy. These reports circulate among officers, and you begin to receive invitations to share your insights with higher command. Your contributions are recognized, and you find yourself at the forefront of a movement advocating for innovative tactics in warfare. However, you remain grounded. The realities of war weigh heavily on your conscience, and you are reminded of the sacrifices made along the way. Each victory is tempered by the losses endured, and you'll reflect on the cost of conflict. The faces of fallen comrades linger in your thoughts, serving as a constant reminder that each success comes at a price. In your interactions with soldiers, you foster a culture of remembrance. You encourage your men to honor their fallen comrades by continuing to push forward and innovate. Their bravery and dedication must not be forgotten. This approach creates a tight-knit community within your unit, where every soldier feels valued and essential to the mission. As new challenges arise, you adapt your strategies once more. The Germans are not idle. They are learning from their defeats and adjusting their tactics. You remain vigilant, analyzing every piece of intelligence and seeking new ways to maintain the advantage. In one particularly tense situation, your division executes a daring nighttime raid on a German supply depot. The operation is fraught with risk, but you feel confident in your men's abilities. You employ deception once again, using inflatable tanks to draw attention away from the main assault. As the operation unfolds, you realize that the success of this mission hinges on the rapid adaptability of your troops. The lessons learned from previous encounters guide your decisions. Each soldier demonstrates a remarkable ability to think on their feet, a testament to the culture of innovation you have cultivated. The raid proves successful, disrupting German supply lines and further weakening their position. In the aftermath, the sense of camaraderie within your division deepens. Soldiers share stories of bravery and sacrifice, reinforcing the bonds that have formed through shared experiences. As the war draws closer to its conclusion, you reflect on the journey that has brought you to this point. The inflatable tanks have become a cornerstone of your tactical approach, demonstrating that innovation can indeed change the course of warfare. The legacy of your actions will endure, influencing future generations of military leaders. You remain committed to fostering an environment where creativity thrives. The battles ahead may be unpredictable, but the lessons learned from your experiences will serve as a guiding light. Each decision, each tactic, and each soldier's contribution will continue to shape the ongoing fight for freedom. As the campaign enters its final stages, you face the bittersweet reality of victory and loss. The sacrifices made along the way weigh heavily on your heart, but you find solace in knowing that your actions have made a difference. The inflatable tanks, once dismissed as mere tools, symbolize a shift in military thought, one that prioritizes adaptability and ingenuity over brute force. The war may be nearing its end, but the impact of these innovations will resonate far beyond the battlefield. As the final stages of the campaign unfold, you and your division prepare for a decisive offensive aimed at breaking through the last remnants of German resistance. The intelligence reports indicate that the enemy is desperate, but they remain formidable. Their defenses are entrenched, and they have fortified key positions with an array of artillery and machine gun nests. The atmosphere is tense, but you can sense a shift in morale among your men. They are ready for the challenge that lies ahead. In the days leading up to the operation, you gather your commanders to discuss the plan. The focus is on integrating the inflatable tanks once more, but this time with a more comprehensive strategy that incorporates lessons learned from previous encounters. You emphasize the need for precision and adaptability as the core tenets of your approach. Daily briefings become a routine, where soldiers share insights from their experiences. The sense of camaraderie grows stronger as you encourage open dialogue. Ideas flow freely, and you can see the determination in your men's eyes. They are committed to executing the plan with excellence. You decide to incorporate a diversionary assault to draw attention away from the main thrust. The inflatable tanks will once again serve as decoys, but this time you want to enhance their effectiveness by deploying small groups of soldiers to create noise and movement in the enemy's sector. This tactic aims to mislead the Germans into believing that a major assault is imminent in one area, while the real attack occurs elsewhere. As the operation day approaches, you conduct final rehearsals. Each soldier knows their role, and you can feel the energy in the air. The inflatable tanks are prepped and camouflaged, ready to be deployed at the right moment. You remind your men that success hinges on their ability to remain calm under pressure, and to adapt quickly to the unfolding situation. On the day of the assault, the sky is overcast, casting a gray hue over the battlefield. You lead your men forward with a sense of purpose. The roar of artillery fire fills the air, and the ground shakes beneath your feet. As you move into position, you can hear the distant shouts of your comrades and the rumble of tanks approaching. You deploy the inflatable tanks along the front lines, ensuring they are well hidden among the rubble. The noise created by your diversionary troops begins to echo across the battlefield, a calculated sound that draws the enemy's focus. The Germans respond quickly, redirecting their fire towards the decoys. While the enemy is engaged, you signal for the main assault to commence. Your real forces push forward, exploiting the confusion. The initial advance is met with resistance, but your men are determined. They push through, knowing that the success of the operation depends on their ability to seize the moment. As you command from the front, you witness the effectiveness of your strategy unfold. The inflatable tanks, once again, draw enemy fire, allowing your armored divisions to maneuver into position. The Germans, caught off guard, struggle to regain their composure. The battlefield becomes a chaotic scene of noise and movement. You observe your soldiers working as a cohesive unit, each man understanding his role and executing it with precision. The sounds of combat fill your ears. The crack of rifles, the thud of artillery, and the shouts of your men as they engage the enemy. You feel a surge of pride as you see the results of your leadership and innovation manifest on the battlefield. The fighting intensifies, and you remain focused on the objective. Communication is key, and you make sure to relay information to your commanders, ensuring that everyone is aligned. The momentum is shifting in favor of the Allies, and you can sense that the tide of battle is turning. As the day wears on, you assess the battlefield. The inflatable tanks have once again proven invaluable, misleading the Germans and allowing your forces to break through their defenses. You realize that this operation is not just about winning a battle. It's about proving that adaptability and innovation can triumph over traditional military strategies. With the enemy in disarray, you push forward, rallying your men to maintain the pressure. The goal is to capitalize on the success and prevent the Germans from regrouping. As night begins to fall, the chaos of battle gradually subsides. You gather your unit to regroup and assess the situation. The sense of accomplishment is palpable. Your innovative tactics have led to a decisive victory. The inflatable tanks, once viewed as mere tools of deception, have demonstrated their worth, reshaping the narrative of the campaign. In the aftermath, you reflect on the journey that brought you here. The challenges faced, the lives lost, and the victories achieved all weigh heavily on your conscience. The camaraderie among your men deepens as you share stories of bravery and resilience. As the days turn into weeks, the impact of the operation reverberates throughout the military community. Your tactics are studied, analyzed, and incorporated into training programs. The inflatable tanks become a symbol of innovative thinking, inspiring future generations of military leaders to embrace adaptability as a core principle. Your name begins to circulate in military circles, and you are recognized as a pioneer of a new approach to warfare. The war continues, but the lessons learned from your experiences shape the evolving landscape of military strategy. You find a renewed sense of purpose as you lead your men into further engagements, equipped with the knowledge that innovation can indeed change the course of history. Each operation becomes a testament to the importance of adaptability, and you foster an environment where creativity thrives. Soldiers are encouraged to think critically and propose new ideas, understanding that the battlefield is a dynamic environment that requires constant As the campaign progresses, you maintain focus on the mission while also nurturing the bonds formed among your troops. The challenges faced together create a sense of unity that strengthens your resolve. You know that the fight for freedom is not just about victory, it's about the shared experiences that define the journey. In the final days of the war, you reflect on the significance of your actions. The inflatable tanks are no longer just a tactical maneuver. They symbolize a shift in military thought that prioritizes ingenuity over brute force. As the dust settles, you remain committed to honoring the legacy of those who fought alongside you. The lessons learned during this tumultuous time will serve as guiding principles for future military leaders, ensuring that the sacrifices made are not forgotten. The war may be nearing its end, but the impact of your actions will endure, shaping the future of military strategy for generations to come. As the war draws to a close, The lessons learned from the innovative use of inflatable tanks begin to permeate military doctrine. You find yourself invited to various strategy conferences, where officers from different divisions gather to discuss the operational successes that have emerged from the offensive tactics employed during the campaign. Your insights are sought after, and you become a respected voice in the evolving conversation about modern warfare. During these conferences, you emphasize the importance of flexibility and deception on the battlefield. You articulate how the success of the inflatable tanks was not just a matter of resourcefulness, but also a reflection of a broader shift in military thinking. The emphasis on psychological warfare, the ability to mislead the enemy, and the critical need to adapt in real time have become focal points in military strategy discussions. As you engage with other commanders, you notice a growing willingness to entertain unconventional ideas. This change in mindset is invigorating. It signifies a departure from rigid adherence to traditional tactics that had dominated military education for decades. You feel a sense of responsibility to ensure that the experiences of your men are not forgotten, and that the innovations born from necessity continue to shape future operations. In the weeks following the last offensive, you work on compiling a comprehensive manual detailing the findings from your operations. This document not only includes tactical insights, but also highlights case studies from various encounters that demonstrate the effectiveness of deception strategies. You want to ensure that the principles of adaptability and innovation become integral to future military training programs. Your report gains traction within the high command, and soon it is shared across multiple divisions. The feedback you receive is overwhelmingly positive, and many commanders express interest in integrating these concepts into their training regimens. This momentum reinforces your belief that the military can evolve by embracing new ideas and learning from past experiences. As the Allied forces begin to prepare for the final assault on Germany, you are appointed to a special task force charged with developing new strategies that can be employed in the upcoming campaigns. The High Command recognizes the potential of your innovative tactics and wants to ensure that they are applied effectively in the final push. You are excited by this opportunity and gather a diverse team of soldiers, engineers, and strategists to brainstorm ideas. Your team works diligently, experimenting with various forms of deception. You analyze the enemy's recent responses and adapt your strategies accordingly. The soldiers are eager to contribute their insights, drawing from their experiences on the battlefield. You foster an environment of collaboration, encouraging everyone to think critically and propose new ideas. As you prepare for the assault, you focus on creating a multifaceted approach that combines the inflatable tanks with other deceptive techniques. You introduce sound devices that can mimic the sound of troop movements, as well as smoke screens to obscure vision. Each element is designed to confuse and mislead the enemy, allowing your forces to exploit weaknesses in their defenses. The day of the final assault arrives, and the atmosphere is charged with anticipation. You stand before your men, delivering a motivational speech that highlights the importance of their roles in this critical operation. You remind them that they are not just soldiers. They are innovators, part of a larger effort to reshape the nature of warfare. As the assault begins, you coordinate the deployment of the inflatable tanks and sound devices. The battlefield erupts into chaos, and you observe how the enemy is drawn into the deception. The inflatable tanks once again draw enemy fire, allowing your real forces to advance with less resistance. You feel a surge of pride as you witness the effectiveness of your strategies. The fighting is fierce, but the momentum is on your side. The innovations you championed have given your division a significant advantage. You see the impact of your leadership as your soldiers push forward, determined to achieve victory. The sense of purpose among your men fuels their resolve, and they continue to advance despite the challenges they face. As the battle unfolds, you maintain communication with your commanders, adjusting tactics as needed. You understand that the situation on the ground can change rapidly, and your ability to adapt is crucial. Each decision you make is informed by the lessons learned from previous encounters, and you feel a deep sense of responsibility for the lives of your men. With each advance, you realize that the inflatable tanks have become more than just tactical tools. They symbolize a shift in how warfare is conducted. The emphasis on innovation and adaptability has permeated the culture of your division, and you see soldiers thinking critically and proposing new ideas based on their experiences. As the dust settles after the battle, you gather your unit to assess the outcome. The operation has been a resounding success, and the inflatable tanks have once again proven their worth. The Germans, now facing a crisis of confidence, are forced to re-evaluate their strategies for the final days of the conflict. The sacrifices made, the lessons learned, and the victories achieved all weigh heavily on your conscience. You understand that, while the war may be drawing to a close, the impact of your actions will resonate far beyond the battlefield. As you continue to lead your men in the final stages of the campaign, you remain committed to fostering an environment where creativity and innovation thrive. The lessons learned during this tumultuous time will serve as guiding principles for future military leaders, ensuring that the sacrifices made are not forgotten. The inflatable tanks may have started as a simple tool of deception, but they have evolved into a symbol of the power of innovative thinking in the face of adversity. You find solace in knowing that your contributions have not only shaped the course of the war, but have also influenced the future of military strategy. The experiences you shared with your men have forged bonds that will last a lifetime, and you are proud to have played a part in their journey. As the final offensive unfolds, you remain vigilant, prepared to adapt and innovate as needed. With the war nearing its conclusion, you are reminded that the true test of leadership lies not only in victory, but also in the legacy you leave behind. You understand that the road ahead may still hold challenges, but you are committed to ensuring that the lessons learned from the inflatable tanks and the importance of adaptability become ingrained in the military ethos. As you prepare for the final moments of the campaign, you look to the future with hope and determination, confident that the innovations you championed will pave the way for a new era in warfare. Your commitment to fostering creativity and critical thinking among your soldiers will ensure that the lessons learned are not only remembered, but also applied in the years to come. Each day serves as a reminder that in the world of warfare, the ability to think differently can indeed change the course of history. As the campaign reaches its climax, you feel a growing sense of urgency. The war is on the verge of concluding, but the fight for victory still demands your full attention. The inflatable tanks have reached a level of acceptance within the military, but you know that their effectiveness hinges on continuous adaptation and innovation. The enemy is not sitting idle. They are observing, learning, and adjusting their tactics in real time. You gather your commanders for a critical briefing. The focus is on exploiting the successes of the inflatable tank strategy, while also preparing for the inevitable countermeasures the Germans will employ. You emphasize the need for flexibility in your approach. Each battle will require a unique response based on the evolving battlefield dynamics. In the days leading up to the final offensive, intelligence reports indicate an uptick in German reconnaissance efforts. Their commanders are becoming more cautious, and their defenses are tightening. You know that the element of surprise will be crucial in the upcoming assault. During a strategy session, an idea emerges. The inflatable tanks can be used not just as decoys, but also as part of a larger psychological operation. You propose to combine the inflatable tanks with a coordinated misinformation campaign. By spreading false intelligence about the location and strength of Allied forces, you aim to further confuse the German command. The goal is to make them second-guess their decisions and overcommit resources to the wrong areas. Your colleagues react positively to this initiative. You assign teams to work on the logistics of disseminating false information. Messengers are tasked with spreading rumors among local civilians, ensuring that word reaches German troops about non-existent troop movements. The operation is risky, but the potential payoff could be significant. As the offensive date approaches, your team finalizes the operational details. You conduct final rehearsals, ensuring that every soldier knows their role. The inflatable tanks are prepared, and sound devices are tested. You feel a mix of anticipation and anxiety, understanding that the success of the operation relies on every soldier's execution of their duties. On the day of the assault, you stand alongside your men, ready to lead them into battle. You can see the determination in their eyes as they prepare for the challenge ahead. The inflatable tanks are positioned, and the sound devices are set to create chaos. As the assault begins, you watch as the battlefield erupts into chaos. The Germans, caught off guard by the sound of approaching forces and the sight of the inflatable tanks, redirect their fire towards the decoys. This moment of confusion allows your real forces to advance with unprecedented momentum. You coordinate movements, directing your units to exploit the openings created by the enemy's miscalculations. The fighting is intense, yet the spirit of your soldiers remains unyielding. They push forward, driven by the knowledge that their efforts will determine the outcome of the campaign. In the heat of battle, you remain focused, continuously assessing the situation. Communication is vital, and you ensure that your commanders are relaying real-time information. The ability to adapt to changing circumstances becomes paramount. You witness the effectiveness of the tactics you've championed as your forces break through the enemy lines. As the battle unfolds, you gather feedback from your men, encouraging them to share their observations. The insights gained from the front line are invaluable, and you stress the importance of learning from every engagement. This culture of open dialogue fosters a sense of ownership among the soldiers, motivating them to think critically about their strategies. The tide of battle shifts in favor of the Allies. The inflatable tanks have proven their worth yet again, drawing enemy fire and allowing your forces to gain ground. You feel a sense of pride in your leadership and the innovation that has defined this campaign. Each victory reinforces your belief in the power of adaptability. As the dust settles after the battle, you gather your unit to assess the outcome. The operation has been a decisive success, and the inflatable tanks have once again demonstrated their value. The Germans, now facing a severe crisis of confidence, are forced to reevaluate their strategies as they realize that their conventional tactics are no longer sufficient. In the aftermath, you reflect on the journey that has led you here. The inflatable tanks, once dismissed as mere tools of deception, have become symbols of a new approach to military strategy. The emphasis on innovation and adaptability has reshaped the battlefield, influencing how warfare is conducted. You gather your team for a debriefing, where you stress the importance of documenting the lessons learned. Each engagement has provided insights that can benefit future operations. You encourage your commanders to compile reports detailing their experiences, ensuring that the knowledge gained is preserved for future generations. As you prepare for the final stages of the campaign, you remain committed to fostering an environment of creativity and critical thinking. The lessons learned from the inflatable tanks and the importance of adaptability will shape the future of military strategy. Each soldier's contribution is invaluable, and you recognize that their experiences will influence how warfare is approached in the years to come. In the weeks that follow, you receive invitations to share your insights with higher command. Your reputation as a pioneer of innovative tactics has grown, and you find yourself at the forefront of discussions about the future of military strategy. You articulate the importance of adaptability and deception, emphasizing that these principles must become integral to military training. As the final offensive approaches, you prepare to lead your unit into one last decisive engagement. The air is thick with anticipation, and you know that the lessons learned from the inflatable tanks will guide your actions. With each passing day, your commitment to innovation remains unwavering, and you are determined to ensure that the sacrifices made during this campaign are not forgotten. The final moments of the campaign will not just be about victory. They will be about cementing a legacy of adaptability and creativity in the face of adversity. If this story resonated with you, consider hitting the like button. Every click tells the algorithm that these forgotten chapters of history are worth preserving. And if you want to help keep these stories alive, subscribe and tell us where you're watching from.